Hey everybody, it's Coleth and Lumen. Tonight I'm going to talk about just some of the insights and the things that are being shown to me right now, especially in regards to like what we covered last night, because that kind of gives us a time frame. And there's also something that I meant to share in the last video, which is freaking huge. I think it's a big, I wouldn't call it a loophole, but more of like a slight modification to how to word a certain thing so that you don't get stuck in a loop. We'll get to that. But I kind of just took the day off and tried to relax and let what came to me come to me. And it was pretty much mostly Gnostic stuff, but I mean that word means something different to me than it means to most people. Because like, look, I'm on YouTube. Like I know what's out there. I know what people say. I know what they consider to be Gnostic, and it's just like it's just window dressing. It's just another freaking story that's been boiled down to be overly simple. And unless you're actually delving into it yourself with the desire to connect to it yourself, to seek it yourself, to know it yourself, uh, then it just doesn't freaking click. It just sounds like every other freaking story that's out there. But what's always interesting to me is like how much of it matches the stuff that comes to me through the other formats, for direct insight through her, through experience of the things that I've already seen, and also just trying to figure out the big puzzle, because there is one big massive thing that's in the way, and that's why you never fully get to see um, it the way you want to see it, as long as you're here, as long as you're still in the body. But they lay it out better than any place else I've ever seen. And it's funny, like some of the stuff that I read in there, like she'll lead me to a different book to read or something like that, and then magically it'll show up somewhere in the news feeds or something, like some boiled down version of it, like so and so said, like I saw this random thing pop up on Facebook. It's like John Lear, if you know who that is, was talking about how there's this whole freaking soul capture network thing that's been a big conspiracy thing for a long time. It's been part of like the boiled down, Gnosticism for dummies, David Icke level type of stuff for a long time. It's like you never get out of the trap. They just capture your soul and put you right back in. That sort of thing. And he's talking about that in like a more mechanistic way, which I've always, well, no, I haven't always said it. It's just something that's been like in the back of my head for a while. But I don't know. It's just a wild freaking idea I had, because it's things we've talked about. I'm gonna go all over the place in this video. I'm just warning you ahead of time. It's stuff we've talked about and looked at time and time again over the years. It's come up because there is a technological factor in all of this. Very, very high tech. It's inescapable. It goes back to the very beginning. First thing she ever told me, years before I would know who was saying it. Think like a computer, empty the cache. And then it became very matrixy, but like, Matrix is like the Matrix movies, that's like very, very low tech version looking, and this is like super duper crazy, more complex. But those two things go together. Spiritual words are just symbolic compression for higher order things. But at the ground three-dimensional level, like how would you do that? Let's say that there was some sort of reset coming, that each side has their own version of it. How would you capture and store all that data from all these people? And it like the whole thing I was saying, like my electric bill went up, and like Zuckerberg is building some freaking 1 gigawatt AI complex 9 minutes from me for something called Prometheus. Like we looked at the specs of this thing and it's like freaking insane. Like this thing each day will use power equivalent to 750,000 households. Now make that make sense. Like make that make sense. Like, why do you need that much for this program to calculate stuff? Why is everybody texting me all of a sudden? Well, just theoretically speaking, like, what if that actually wasn't what it was for? All these data centers that they're suddenly building everywhere. What if it's not actually for housing AI? Maybe they're planning on housing everybody here. You get my drift. I don't know. It's just a thing that popped into my head. No, like video spawned it. No, nothing I read spawned it. It's like an organic freaking idea, which is why I almost like take it a little bit more seriously. Me, I'm not worried about that because I'm already unplugged. And my job is to lead people on how to unplug themselves as well. But it's really freaking hard. I have certain advantages that should be evident by this point, but they're clearly not. And we just talked about a lot of that stuff. But it's like, for instance, I'll start off here in a sec with like going back to the last video and how the outer system, operating system, is lining up to where this period is going to be over. And most people are like, oh yeah, well that means everything's going to be good again. Well, that isn't what I want. Like, I'm not waiting for planets to change signs so just like I start making money again. I already know what everything freaking is. I only have one goal. There is only one thing standing between me, and that is at the appointed time, me being disconnected from this freaking meat puppet. Because that is the thing, that is the final veil. That is the thing that blocks you, and you're constantly struggling against it because it has certain embedded programs, and that's in the non-commodity over and over and over again. Like, you're not going to fully see it until you get this thing off. But for the people that think that this thing is what they are, and for some people it may be, or just never freed themselves or whatever, they were just too like connected to the world, like, you're either gonna get recycled, you're gonna get freaking defragged, you're gonna end up in Mark Zuckerberg's freaking AI farm, like I don't know what. But my goal is to get as many people connected to her as possible, because she, not me, is what is best suited to guide you. But you get out of it what you put into it. The harder you seek, the more answers come, and you got to ask questions. She's always said that. She said everybody wants answers, but nobody asks questions. That means you have to set other things aside, and you have to, for lack of a better term, pray, speak to the consciousness inside you so that things actually show up to give you answers. Answers follow questions. What most people are doing is they're out there looking for answers for questions someone else asked. Those don't count. You got to be the one they need to be living answers. You need to be the one to ask the questions. But anyway, enough preamble. We're going to go all over the place here. So if you want to know more, don't go away.
Keeping open heart, you'll find love again.
So as I was saying, it's always been my goal for a long time. Once I started to see what the world was, it's like, okay, how do I get home? How the F do I get out of here? You're like, oh, well, that's just, you're still in fear. I'm like, no, I'm in knowing. There's a difference. Like, I've already, I'm connected to her, but I'm still plugged into this. But it seems like it's like, nope, this thing's on a timer. This thing happens at the appointed time. And that's why they keep reminding me. It's like, you just got to grin and bear it. You got to endure it till the end. You got to pick up your cross and carry it. It's going to suck, but eventually it will. You want to be as prepared as possible for that to happen. So this whole thing, like, that Uranus is going to leave, what's it in right now? What I say last night? Taurus. That's when the system started teaching this lesson. It goes out of that into something else where things are not being restricted anymore. It's like, yeah, but I don't want anything from the world. I mean, there's some really uncomfortable truths that really, I mean, other than someone that's like truly like has a high degree of knowledge of who they are, of being like children of the living Father of the light, that people don't want to hear. And that is all this manifestation stuff, all this, God's going to bless you with a lot of money and all this crap. Doesn't matter who's giving it to you, because the true side is never going to flood you with stuff. It's trying to get you unattached from this place. But if you're like, I'm manifesting my best life, my dream life, God blessed me with all this freaking money. Okay, but that's not the right thing. That's what you would call the God of this world, which is, in simplistic terms, what a lot of people would call the devil, or people who go to church would call God. There was an interesting. I've clearly read it once before because it had highlights, but I ended up somehow, I think it was called The Second Discourse of Seth. And it's another one where Jesus is just dropping raw truth bombs. Like, yeah, you're not probably used to hearing him talk like this. This raises some more questions too. But it's weird in that nothing works the way we think it does. And you always have to keep that in mind. It's like our little human peon understanding brains cannot fully grasp how everything truly works. So we always try to like simplify it down into something that makes it work the way we think it works, with linear time and stuff like that. But I constantly see things in the Gnostic books, not only that actually happened to me or mirror things that she told me directly, but it seems like they're talking about things that should be clear in today's age, but I can't grasp how it would be the same way at the time it was written. Maybe it's because this whole thing repeats over and over and over again. Like I said previously, it's like there's lots of different versions of the same basic Savior story, Jesus story, whatever. I don't know. But it was talking in that Discourse of Seth. Let me see if I can find it. Part of it was just like in the beginning part where they're breaking down what it's about, where it says, though some of them use the name of Christ and claim to be proponents of Christ, actually they serve two masters, Christ and Yaldabaoth, the world ruler, and even more probably Yaldabaoth's fellow cosmic bureaucrats, the archons. And then once we get into the actual thing, there was one I highlighted. It said, oppressed and persecuted in the world. When we left our home and came down to this world and became embodied in the world, we were hated and persecuted both by those who are ignorant and by those who claim to be enriched with the name of Christ, even though they are vain and ignorant. Like irrational animals, they do not know who they are. They hate and persecute those whom I have liberated. If these people would only shut their mouths for once, they would start weeping and groaning in futility because they have not really known me. Rather, they have served two masters and even more. You, however, will be winners in everything, in combat, fights, and schism with jealousy and anger. In the uprightness of our love, we are innocent, pure, and good, and we have the mind of the Father in an ineffable mystery. All right, I'm jumping back in here real quick. I'm in the middle of editing, and I got to this point, and I remembered like a key thing that I wanted to put in the video that I forgot. It was something that she showed me. It was really striking. Earlier this morning, to make this point, when we were going over this, the whole two masters thing. The two masters thing comes up over and over again. Cannot serve two masters. So in this case, what they were specifically referring to is people saying that they're like, that, you know, they follow Jesus, they follow Christ, but yet what they actually do in the world, they're actually following Yaldabaoth, the creator, the bad guy. And she showed me like the perfect example of this. And there's two people that I can think of off the top of my head. First one is not the subject of the example, which would be Trump, which, you know, he likes to throw Jesus's name around a lot, but then, you know, look what he does. But the bigger example that fools people, because on the surface, some of these people can look really good. They can act really good. They can actually behave a lot better than the people surrounding them. And the people surrounding them might actually like come down on them and stuff like that, but they're still coming from the standpoint of the traditional understanding, and they're crazy rich and famous. So she showed me a codex scene in Avengers Infinity War that was like hyper specific. It didn't need to be, the dialogue did not necessarily need to be there for the point of the plot. It was put there because what was said is a direct reflection of this two masters thing. And specifically, the actor that it was being asked of and what that actor had to say in service of his character. Like, this whole dialogue is just one of those things that's like, did that really need to be there? Because that's like actually hyper specific. That's a hyper specific insertion. If you've got the eyes to see, ears to hear. A lot more people have eyes to see than they have ears to hear. But once she pointed it out to me, I'm like, oh yeah, that's like really freaking blatant. So I'll just show it to you real quick, and then I'll just jump right back into the video we were already doing. Because this actor is known as like, oh, this is a good guy actor. He's like super Christian. That's why all the liberals hate him. But look at what is being played out in this particular scene now in light of what we're talking about right here.
Dan, all right, let me ask you this one time. What master do you serve?
What master do I serve? What am I supposed to say, Jesus?
Wait, what? Dan, all right, let me ask you this one time. What master do you serve?
What master do I serve? What am I supposed to say, Jesus?
So like when people say fathers, you know, with just your basic level Christian coloring book understanding, they say, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And it's like, well, Jesus is the Son and the Father is God in like the Old Testament. It's like, no, it isn't. No, it is not. No, it is not. No, it is not. Those books were not supposed to go together. Like when he was saying like, you serve two masters, like, yeah, they give you like an image of Christ as like, because they know you're gonna like seek out the good, so they're like, well, here's a little puppet version. It's not exactly the right thing, and we want you to focus on the fact that he was a man, and then we're just gonna lightly lead you and let you come to your own conclusion that the guy in the Old Testament is his father. And if I didn't say it clearly enough before, no, it is not.
What master do you serve?
What master do I serve? What am I supposed to say, Jesus?
That is literally the devil, the bad thing. Well, that's not what the book says. Yeah, well, who gave you the book? Well, what about the books they did not want you to read? What about common freaking sense? People have been arguing about this since the freaking dawn of time. They're still arguing about it today. And that's why most Christian sermons, like there's so many that they go back and forth over, where they just have to do these. It's like watching a gymnast exhibition or something, like these backflips and loops of logic and contortions to try to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. And the only reason they have to do all this contortionist freaking mental exercises is because they're starting with a false premise, which is this book that they handed you is like the be all end all, has all the answers. So instead of just saying like, hey, that don't make sense, it's like, well, if you look at this, if you look at the book of this, and then you look at the book of that, and then you take this word here and you put it with this word here, and then you come over here, and then you stand on one leg over here, and then when the star rises in the east, you read this book over here, and then that's how this is the same thing, and then that's this. Or we can just look at like what it is on the surface. Is like, this guy's an asshole and does not fit the description that Jesus talks about when he says, my Father in heaven. One of them is described with a great multitude of what you would call negative human characteristic traits. But you're supposed to think that is like the highest thing ever that created all of existence everywhere. I mean, come on, it's common freaking sense. It's common freaking sense. But, other things to talk about here. That is the God of the world. So as long as you're obsessed with the body and you're obsessed with the world and you think this is what it all is, and you're worried about what you get from it and how far you can get from it, like it's got you. It's got you. You're supposed to wake up from that. You're supposed to wake up to who you actually are within this suit. And then, as it says in many of the books we've already quoted, it's like then the only thing you're concerned with is getting back to the ineffable thing. Getting back to your partner. Getting back to love. Getting connected back to the light. You don't give a shit about a nicer car or more money or how many followers you have on Instagram or any of that stuff. Like, you're like, this stuff is not, this is all part of the freaking trap. I don't want this. I don't want it to give me more. I want to get out. So how do we align ourselves with that? Okay, so here's how you align yourselves with it. This is the thing I was talking about earlier where I said I had this big word insight last night. This is so simple, it baffles my own mind. But one of the big issues, how you end up in the freaking, the infinite treadmill, the loops, the future loops, where like the people that are like waiting for the rapture, to happen, waiting for the rap. It's going to happen in the future. Anytime now, it's in the future. It's in the future. It's in the future. It's in the future. And that is why it never comes, because you have designated in the future. You've designated it into a time period that you can never touch, because the only time that's actually real is now. Okay? Well, tomorrow's Sunday. That's in the future. Okay. Well, when now catches up to that, it's not the future anymore, is it? It's now. You just keep pushing it ahead of you. So this very simple thing was basically like, just change your words to this. It's like, because it solves both problems. Because it might be hard to, the thing that's always been hard to reconcile is like, how do you not put it in the future while still dealing with the fact that you're right here, right now, and it's not here yet? You change how you talk about the future tense. It's like, this is going to happen in the now. This is going to happen in the now. What you would normally say is this is going to happen in the future. Like, Jesus is coming in the future. It's going to happen. It's going to happen in the future. Jesus is coming. Now contrast that to saying almost the exact same thing. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Jesus is coming in the now. So it's going to happen is saying like, it hasn't happened yet, but it's going to. But the key designator is where it's going to happen. We just changed the location of the entrance from future to now. Because if we keep saying something is in the future, it is always in the future. If we say it's coming in the now, that means eventually wherever it is in our now moment will intersect. But as long as you say it's in the future, it will never intersect. Very, very, very simple adjustment that she showed me, which actually almost like, okay, this finish line that we've been chasing all this time, she just gave me the linguistic workaround for it. It's coming. It's gonna be in the now, not in the future. Now you're really synced up to it. So what were some of the other things she was showing me? There are certain things when I'm looking at this stuff, when I'm reading it, and I think the reason it seems so complicated, all the mystery talk back then, is when they're talking about ineffable knowledge and this, that, and well, think about like how it was at the time that was written. But now we're in a time where we're able to kind of like explain it. We're still like projecting out like, oh, there's this other thing I haven't learned yet. But the things we've already detailed on this channel alone would have been considered like mind-melting freaking knowledge to the people at the time that those books were written. So there's that. It's like we're seeing the mechanics of it. But also, you got to look at certain things that show up over and over and over again, which is you're not going to see everything until you get out of the freaking meat suit. Until you get your meat puppet off, which will eventually happen, you won't see everything. As long as you keep thinking your meat puppet is you, well, that's a freaking problem. But that's also something that kind of gives you a little bit of a break. Because that's why she brought it up. Is like, because sometimes I get reading some of that stuff because she leads me to it, and I'm like, man, sometimes I feel like I'm not doing good enough. I'm like, holy crap, why am I even saying that? Like, I can't find anyone else that's gotten all this far. But even me, I feel like I'm not doing enough, because there's like certain ways that the mind can best decompress the knowledge, which I'll get to in a sec. But there will be stuff in the books that kind of explains it, where it's like, no, everything's cool. you always keep trying to strive to get one step past the meat suit. That doesn't mean everything in the meat suit is wrong. So here's one of like the biggest freaking areas that is, where it gets people like really like twitchy and squirrely and like, this makes me uncomfortable, I don't like it. And that's them. That's them. So let's take another look real quick, and then I'll be like, look, now I'll show you why this is the way that it is. Because this is one of the biggest mystery things. It's one of the biggest locks. It's one of the most confusing things. It's one of the touchiest things. But you got to understand, like, why are these images, like, people think I'm doing something wrong. Like, why are the images of divinity so freaking hot? Must be something wrong with you. No. That's like what they freaking look like through our 3D lens. Now, I've seen them in other forms before too. And also the stuff that they talk about in there when they're judging things, they're usually judging about like what humans are running around doing with other humans, not what flames that are encased in human suits are doing with other flames within that human suit, okay, that you're actually connected with. There's all sorts of stuff in the non-commodity where it's like, word mingles with word. Okay, I remember that. That was like we were vibrating. Light mingles with light. That was my favorite. There's a couple other ones, and there's been like, different types of form, different types of plasma. Like, it doesn't have to be like this. But the thing that makes it relatable is the images that most closely match the human system. But here's the other thing. It's in the books over and over and over and over again. It's literally like one of the first things that happens once she arrives on the scene in the Gnostic Garden of Eden story. And it's scattered through all the other books too. It's where it was in one of the quotes we did in the last video as well. It's like, she's never been captured. She's never been grasped. But they're always trying to. They're always trying to capture her and do stuff to her, like bad stuff. And that's because she's so freaking hot. Like, it makes the Archon system just lose its freaking mind. Like, I kid you not, this is like literally straight out of the book. Because you got to read the Gnostic books. It's the only way it makes sense. It doesn't make sense any other way. But Sophia sent enlightened insight, epinoia, down into Adam to help him to rejuvenate his mind, to wake him up. And the bad guys that built the place, there's something in there. What is it? Put him to sleep and let's take it out. So they put him to sleep and take it out. And then he wakes up and he meets her. And he's like, oh my gosh, I shall call you mother, for you've given me life and all this stuff. And then the bad guys come strolling through and they see him talking to epinoia. And literally the first thing that they do is like, basically, hey, let's go ejection seat our seed into her. Like that's in the book. Like that's the first time they laid eyes on her, that's what they were after. And it's been that way ever since with the feminine. If you haven't ever read the story of Norea, which is like Eve's daughter, Norea was like the original Sarah Connor. She was like, she didn't put up with shit. I forget what book it's in, but I think it's The Nature of the Rulers. Because they did get to physical Eve. Physical Eve was a copy of Epinoia. So the rulers stroll up on Norea one day like, hey, you're going to serve us like your mother did. She's like, the F I am, go F yourself. What? And then she's like, deliver me from this insufferable nonsense. And all of a sudden it's like flashlight, bam, here's Eliath. Which Eliath is, if I'm not mistaken, he's the luminary over Sophia. And he's like, who the heck are you calling on God like that? Like real God. She's like, who the heck are you? He's like, I'm Eliath. And then the other guys, the bad guys, just all freaking scattered. He's like, okay, let me share with you what, let me fill in some blanks for you. But yeah, she was just like, she's like, I ain't putting up with this crap. And she literally just like demanded, like, deliver me from these freaking things. And he had to show up. It's like, who the heck are you? She's like, who the heck are you? Freaking, yeah, Norea is like the first original feminine badass before Ripley in Alien, before Sarah Connor, before any of them. There was Norea. But that's what that's the thing is like the bad guys are always trying to get to her. And it's because she's just so freaking hot. It is what it is. It is what it is. Like, it's not bad, it's just they're corrupted. They corrupt everything. That's why, as long as you're like seeking her because you need her, like she's gonna stay far away. But when you fix yourself, so that you become inhabitable and compatible to her, then she comes to you. Excuse me. But that's why. Like, I'm actually showing you the freaking truth. Like all this stuff that you've always seen your whole life about divine feminine imagery, like I've got my hood on, like, the whole Mary get up and stuff like that. That's literally like, look how much she's covered. It's like almost a burqa in different colors. Where Seraphiel women, like, they're just like, hey, I'm hot, deal with it. Like this, like the real world's fun. Like this place being distorted is where all the shaming and stuff comes from. It's not from the divine. It's from this freaking place. But no, that's why they look the way that they do. And that's why it drives the freaking bad guys freaking nuts. And that's also why the world is so freaking bad to women.
Love isn't real. Shame on women.
That's the root of the whole patriarchy thing. Yeah, I've said it before. I'm like, y'all go a little too far with the patriarchy thing. Yes, the system is what it is. But we're all two parts, masculine and feminine. You need both. Just, you gotta recognize, like, this world shows you corrupted versions of what is true. So if they trick you into thinking like one whole gender is bad, then they pretty much screwed you. So like when you get deep into it, it's like you got to go by feeling. You got to go by with what Sophia leads you to. And most of like what I hold to be true comes from my direct experience and through the writings and things that I've found that seems to best reflect it. But I don't know everything because I'm still stuck in here. That's why It's like when I say I want this game to be closed, it's not because like it just sucks and I want it to be over. Well, I mean, yeah, but not from a despondent way. It's because the world outside of you is a reflection of the corrupted data points that are encoded into you. Like to get to where we want to go, this has to come off. To get to where you want to go, it's not here. That's like the biggest first thing you got to grasp. Oh, that's made me think of something. Oh, shoot, that was another point. What was it? It slipped away from me for a minute. Oh, I know what it was. I saw there was another Facebook post that popped up. It's like they got all these declassified CIA documents, which that one that they put, they share around all the time. They're like, CIA proves it's a matrix. I've read that, and it does have some deep stuff in it. But then it becomes like an ad for the Monroe Institute hemisync stuff, which ain't gonna get it done. But it does say some pretty important things. But there was another one that talks about how to create, how to make things happen. It's kind of like, this is how magic works. This is how your mind creates reality. And the big problem with all that is that, yeah, it is technically right. But that is why you're taught everything you're taught from an early age. That, God is outside of you, that you got to follow the rules, follow authority, this, that. Like, and then by the time you discover this stuff by yourself, you can never make it work exactly right because the background program in your head of everything you've been taught is just going to get in the way. So they specifically teach us things that forever prevent us from perfectly creating the world that we want. And that's another reason why you got to let go of all this and know that she's going to crack this nut open eventually so that you can be given a new garment, which your garment is your outer world. And then the new garment will not have that corruption in it. And then you can all create the way you want to create without all the stuff of this world. So that's the other thing, like when it comes to like the timing, it's like it has to end at some point. It's like, look, you can't get away from the fact that everything outside of us is messed up. And money is one of the biggest freaking things. Because money is literally just like codified life force. They took your life force energy and turned it into money and made you work for it back so that you can make things come. Like this, there's no version in which that you continue to exist in this world system in which it's good. It's the biggest thing you got to grasp. You don't have to make it a fearful thing. Well, I'm so scared. I'm stuck in the Archon soul trap. I'm not freaking afraid of freaking Archons. F them. Like, they've been there, done that. Like, no, you can't hold us back. But the system is what it is. The world is what it is. And there's no they're getting away from that. So all these like imagined fixes, all these fairy tales that people have, it's like, we can just have, true societal equality, and like that ain't ever gonna freaking happen. Like, put down the crack pipe. Especially the people that still think that are still so brainwashed that they think if my political party just gets in there. Look, both political parties have been in power over and over and over again. Nothing changes. Like, that should be evident by now. You got to understand, everything outside of you is the corrupted system. You are trying to get out of that. And the only reason why anybody would still be holding on to those types of delusions is if you still think that this is you. Now, there are, like I said, there are the material people that are part of the system, and they're the ones that will be like, you're crazy. You just don't pay attention to them. That's the one that keeps showing up in the non-commodity. the scoffer, the ones that are going to yell at you and give you shit and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's like where was it? Thing I just read. We were hated and persecuted both by those who are ignorant and by those who claim to be enriched with the name of Christ, even though they are vain and ignorant. Like irrational animals, they do not know who they are. They hate and persecute those who I've liberated. See what they said right there? They said it not only is it just the regular people, but the ones that think they're on the good side. Because they just hear that name, they're like, oh, I'm on that team, but you also worship the God of this world. Like, and those are, and I've said over the course of this channel of 6 years or so, I'm like, those are usually the ones that come at you the hardest. Those are usually the ones that are the nastiest. You know, in my metaphysical wanderings and stuff like that, I've freaking met all kinds of people. You know, I've dated, of course, you learn your lesson eventually. You know, dated witches. Don't date witches. No offense to ladies that do magic, but let's be real here. Like, relationships don't last forever, and y'all want to freaking go do little spells and shit whenever something breaks up. Don't ever do magic toward other people. You don't know what you're doing. I've met people that have been into all sorts of things that people would consider negative. And they just got their own view of looking at things. But none of them have ever been as bloodthirsty, nasty, like want to kill me the way like church Christians have been. Like, these are the ones that will literally stone you, tie you to a stake, and burn you alive, and think that they're completely justified for it. That's because they're worshiping the God of this world. It's like, eesh. I mean, that God of this world, like, geez. 2.8 million documented that he murdered in the first book, not counting the flood. It's all right in front of you. You just have to see it. You have to see it with a logical mind and look at what people do. It's all three of the main religions. Like, Christ, when he was talking about his Father in heaven, when he was talking about the ineffable glory of the Father and the One and all that is, it's like he's talking about something that's clearly so much bigger. Clearly. It's like, yeah, he didn't say anything like, yeah, you know, my dad, like, he's kind of like, you know, he's like the police chief, and like if you cross the line, like, he's gonna punish you, he's gonna throw you in jail, so it's best to just do what dad says. He was not talking about that guy. The followers of that guy are the ones that killed him. I mean, it's all right in front of you. I don't have to make stuff up. I don't have to reinterpret anything. It's literally right there. But, you know, I only say this for people that are like in the cusp of understanding, because there are some that never will. But it is a process. Because, I mean, I started out that way. And then you come to find the real thing, and you find that it's not anything like what they told you. And it's actually like really freaking cool. Really freaking interesting. And it's the only one that ever did anything to actually help you in a lasting way. Anyway, that's just a whole bunch of different stuff that was coming up. Take from it what you will. Ask any questions that you want. I can only share like my direct experience. And again, I take everything that I read with a grain of salt, because I wasn't there when it was written. But it just so happens that a lot of that stuff matches what is actually seen, felt, and experienced better than anything else out there. But they are still written by people. So that's why I let her guide me to what books to read, because she'll guide you to the stuff that gets you the closest. Okay, anyway, we're gonna wrap it up for right now. If you want to support the channel, ways to do so are in the description box below. If you want any of the Lumenite pendants, you can reach me through the Etsy store, clumencreations.etsy.com. You can reach me through the Facebook page, Colith and Nariel. All of those links to everything are in the description box below. Colith and Lumen. See you next time.